As America and other Western European nations say that Russia's got no interest doing anything in Crimea or in Ukraine, there is an argument that the people there should have autonomy. Okay? But hear me, autonomy, self-government, is not absolute. It is not an absolute right. Okay? For example, if a majority of people in a government, or in a state rather, form a government, and in that government they decide that they are going to kill off a minority, such as in Rwanda, with the Hutus slaughtering the Tutsis. Can they say, you can't intervene? We voted, we have autonomy? Of course not. All right? It's not an absolute. There are things that are higher than that. The laws of God are higher than that. And that, my friend, is a part of the foundation of the Augustinian, St. Augustine, all right, from the late 300s and early 400s. That is a part of the Augustinian theory of just war, that a nation can, for the sake of justice, intervene in the affairs of another nation, no matter what that other nation has decided with autonomy or with self-government or with a legitimate vote. Okay? Democracy is not higher than the laws of God. You cannot vote with a majority to upend the laws of God. Now, all right, so, not to mention history and philosophy and Augustine, but how about the Monroe Doctrine? All right, let me read to you a portion of the message to Congress that American President James Monroe sent to Congress in 1823. All right, December of 1823. Now, the background here is that there was quarrels going on between France and Spain and Portugal on this side, and Russia and Prussia and Austria on the other side. These are things long forgotten by most of us, but the Monroe Doctrine is not. Because what was happening was that France and Spain were discussing ways that some of the lost colonies in the Americas, Central America, South America, some of their territories, some of their properties could be brought back to their orbit. Okay? So, James Monroe sent a message to Congress, and in it, this is the heart and soul of the Monroe Doctrine. You ready? We owe it, therefore, to candor and to the amicable relations existing between the United States and those powers, the powers of Europe, Russia, etc., to declare that we should consider any attempt on their part to extend their system to any portion of this hemisphere as dangerous to our peace and safety, with the existing colonies or dependencies of any European power. We have not interfered and shall not interfere. But with the governments who have declared their independence and maintained it, and whose independence we have, on great consideration and on just principles, acknowledged, we could not view any interposition for the purpose of oppressing them or controlling them in any other manner their destiny by any European power in any other light than as the manifestation of an unfriendly disposition toward the United States. In other words, if France or Spain tries to take back over a nation, if the Spaniards want to get Peru back under their control, or Venezuela or Costa Rica or anything, we say no. We consider this an act of war against us. We, the United States, have determined that we're going to control the entire hemisphere. Okay? Now, at the beginning, when that happened, a lot of the Latin American countries were saying, yay, they're going to protect our independence. Well, many of them are not so happy about the Monroe Doctrine anymore. In fact, in the fall of 2013, Secretary of State John Kerry told the Organization of American States that the Monroe Doctrine is dead. Now, for those of you who follow American politics, it'll just take a strong-willed Republican president instead of a weak-kneed Democrat like Barack Obama. It'll just take one Republican president to say, there's been a resurrection. The Monroe Doctrine is not dead, it's alive. So the simple matter is, though, that the Monroe Doctrine was used on many occasions by many presidents to justify our intervention in Latin American countries by ways that we saw fit. So many of the Latin American countries today view the Monroe Doctrine as an effort by the U.S. to have hegemony. In other words, we want the whole region, the whole Western Hemisphere, all of the Americas to look like we Americans want it to look like. And they don't like that. But that's our foreign policy, the foreign policy that we've lived with for almost 200 years. And we cannot therefore say to Russia, well, we have the Monroe Doctrine. We tell everyone that what they're going to do or not do in this hemisphere within limits. And but you can't say what's going to happen in Crimea, even though it borders you. You can't say what's going to happen in Ukraine. You have no legitimate interest there. Yes, they do. All right. And as I've stated before, Crimea was a part of Russia that was ceded to Ukraine during the Soviet Empire as a perfunctory political move. And the majority of the people in Crimea are Russian. So they're going to get a chance to vote. They're going to vote. Do you want to become a state in the Russian Federation, or do you want to be semi-autonomous and related to Ukraine? There's your vote, John Kerry. There's your vote, President Obama. Are you going to say to them that they can't do it? Are you going to say that we should send arms? That we should punish Russia economically? I mean, watch this carefully, people, because there's a lot of people in the United States that would like independence from the United States. All right? There is a very strong secessionist movement in Texas and in other states. Heck, 4 counties in the Oklahoma Panhandle actually voted to secede from the Union. Those are the 4 counties, by the way, where when I ran for president against Obama in the Democratic primary, I beat him in all 4 of those counties. I'm waiting. If you need me to become the president of those 4 counties, I'm interested in the position. This is the voice of resistance. I'll be right back.